Little girl, 6 or 7 years old, both teeth missing, goes into a pet shop, talks with a little lisp. She said, "Method."
Well received already.
And have you heard the Widow Rabbit story? Anybody heard the Widow Rabbit story? Oh, this is good. Method, have you got a widow rabbit? And so, he felt real compassionate. He kind of leaned down and got on her level so he could talk to her a little bit. He said, "Young lady, do you want a widow white rabbit or a widow brown rabbit?" So she backed up, 6, 7-year-old little girl. She backed up a little bit and she said, "Sir, I don't think my python really gives a fit." Maybe I'll bring another 2 out, man. A little different ground this morning. Okay? I got one more, but not right now. I got a place I want to use that.
It's a smarter crowd.
Health savings account. Okay, well, glad to do it. And I hope this little story can benefit, somebody along the way, Robert, because obviously I'm not doing it as a testimonial for me, but, I've been in this business almost 30 years, and each and every time that, back in the early days, we're always taught as insurance agents to do a good job fact-finding, get all the facts, uncover the need, and then deliver some type of product to fill that need. Of course, we go through the presentations. Some of them are a little more elaborate than others. Everybody has their own technique and style. And then once we get our prospect in our corner, then we're going to go for the close. And some closes are extremely easy. Others are extremely difficult. What I'm going to tell you today is for that difficult close, for that time that you have somebody across the table or wherever that for whatever reason, they just won't take that, okay, this is something I need to do. Okay, and my story begins, everybody has a date that they remember. I think all of us will remember the date of 9/11. It just kind of sticks in our mind. Well, my date is April 20th. And the reason I say April 20th, on the 18th of April, I went to my personal physician, took my lovely wife with me, and as a matter of fact, I told her in the weekend prior to that, I said, "Pat, I've got a doctor's appointment on the 18th. I want you to go with me." And she said, "What's this all about?" I said, "Well, I'll tell you when I get there." So I go in there and I explain to him that, I'm having these symptoms, and I said, of course, my personal physician is a good personal friend of mine, a lot like my wife, who is my best buddy. I mean, this guy I've grown up with, our kids went to the same school, and I said, "Jim," I said, "either one or two, I'm not a doctor, but one or two things has happened. I've either had a stroke or I've got a brain tumor." He said, "Well, the only way to determine that is to schedule an MRI and an MRA," which he did the very next day. I went and had those tests run, and on Thursday morning, while I'm out running some errands, as a matter of fact, I was getting a haircut, planning to get the car washed, I get a phone call from him, and he says, "Butch, I got some news I want to deliver to you. It's not very pleasant, and I really hate to do it, but you need to go see a neurosurgeon before the end of the day." And I said, "Well, Pat is, Pat's out and about. She's going to a luncheon. She's a politician, and it's important to her. And she's going to do a little shopping in the afternoon at her favorite clothing store. I own a little stock in Talbot's as well. Most of what she wears is from Talbot, and I'm not going to do anything, Jim, until I talk to her." And that was the end of the conversation. So an hour or two later, I get another phone call. "Butch, if you call this neurosurgeon, he's waiting on you." I said, "No, I told you I'm not going to do anything until I talk to Pat." So I go on about my day, doing my little errands, and then a few minutes, the phone rings again, and it's Pat. She says, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I just finished getting a haircut. I just got my car. I got my car washed down on Highway 96 in Franklin. You need to come home immediately." I said, "What's up?" She said, "I just talked to Jim." I said, "Oh, well, what did he tell you?" He said, well, I regret you had to hear the news from him. She said, you need to come on. We need to go see this neurosurgeon. So to make a long story short, I went to see this neurosurgeon. He showed me the MRI and he said, you got some type of mass in the brain. We need to identify it. I said, ooh, okay, doesn't sound good. He said, we'll do a biopsy, which he did the following Friday. And I have a stage 4, 5-centimeter how do you pronounce it?
It's a glioblastoma.
A glioblastoma multiple form, which is an extremely fast-growing, aggressive brain tumor. The reason I tell you this story is that as agents, we're always told to really keep our financial house in order, our business house in order, because we're selling not only personal insurance, but business insurance. We need to get our legal house in order. We need to keep our spiritual house in order, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the good news about this, now my medical prognosis, my life expectancy is extremely short today. All the medical professionals are going to tell me, or have told me over the last 2 weeks, and God knows I've seen enough of them, that I'm going to live somewhere between 6 months or less and 2 or 3 years, depending upon the treatment. As a matter of fact, this afternoon, I'm getting a second surgical opinion from another neurosurgeon. The initial surgeon said, what you have is non-surgical. Well, that's a nice way of saying it's inoperative. And I believe the guy, but for my own personal peace of mind, I'm going to go get a second opinion. And the whole key to it is, if they can go in and extract this, at least 80% of it, and still leave me with a good quality of life, I may elect that option. But we're going to find that out the next day or so. But the reason I bring this up, this is terrible news. This is terrible news. But I'm at peace because I've got my personal house, my business house, my financial house, my spiritual house, and my legal house in order. So anybody who gets news like this, it really makes that travel down that road much, much easier to accept. Much, much easier to do on a day-to-day basis. Now, for all the agents out there, when you come across that prospect who says, I just want to think about it, I'm in good shape. I thought I was in good shape. Today, I'm uninsurable. As a matter of fact, Robert, you're in the brokerage business. I'll buy just all the life insurance today you can bring to me. All you got to do is bring it to me. Chances of you finding something probably are extremely slim. But my friend, if you can bring it to me, bring it on. I don't want a graded death benefit. I want immediate death benefit. Bring it on. I'll buy all you can bring to me if my finances will afford it. But that's not a position that you want people to get into today. You don't want to be in that kind of position. You want to plan ahead, which I have. It's okay. I'm okay. If I die too soon, I'm covered. I got a boatload of insurance. I got a great disability program. I've got a great retirement plan. The only downside to dying too soon is I'm going to lose that double-digit return that I'm getting on an annual basis. But plan ahead. Don't be like the the mechanic that drives the jalopy. Don't be like the painter whose house the paint is peeling. Practice what you preach, my friend. Get your house in order, both personal, business, financial, spiritual, etc. If you do that, you too may get a call just like I did, and it'll certainly make that travel down the road much, much easier. My lovely wife, Pat, I don't know, from a wife's perspective, tell these folks what this news has done to you. And the key to it, this lady is extremely, extremely strong. I really don't have a worry in the world. My only worry is that she can continue to stay strong.
Well, I think from my point of view, we have lived the example that Butch has preached. We have planned for this day, not expecting it to come, but we have planned for it. And I've had the luxury during our 24 years of marriage. I gave up my career so that I could be a stay-at-home mom, and I've used my education for public service and have given back to the community that's been so very incredibly kind to us. We have basically kind of, take Tim McGraw's words, we've kind of lived like we were dying for the past 24 years. We planned for this. This was not the news that we wanted to receive, but in light of that, now we can focus our energies on what's important, which is quality time together for whatever time there is, be it 2 months or 6 months, or I may run out here and get run over by a truck that's by somebody who's really upset with me about something. But you know, the good news is we can focus our energies on what's so important. I'm not faced with making decisions on what do I do after being out of the workforce for 24 years and how do I recapture that and make myself marketable. We still have one child still in college to educate. We don't have to worry about being able to provide an education for her. We don't have to worry about making a drastic change.
Because the money's in place today.
Right.
I mean, we're not having to make hasty decisions, which many people have to do if they're put in a predicament of terrible news similar to this, and then they have to, if they haven't done a good job of pre-planning, then, you know, I mean, most of them are at a loss, or they have to go out and make hasty decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, hasty decisions, for the most part, are not what we want to be faced doing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You've been interrupting me a lot.
Oh, well, you know, after all these years, I guess I've qualified for that.
You get that
okay?
opportunity, but I'm not faced with worrying about what my future's like, because not only, I mean, this news affects our entire family, and you know what our future's like, and so I'm not sitting here worrying about, you know, what am I going to do after he's gone, and whatever time that may come, and you know, we can still provide for, you know, for education and still maintain our lifestyle and still provide for his needs and not compromise any of that. And so we can still, you know, enjoy those comforts that we've had for the past 24 years, and we've just, you know, we've planned for that. And so that's the good news. And then whatever health care needs he needs, you know, during this time, we don't have to worry about that either. So, you know, if people would just stop and think, even though they're healthy today, they need to plan for that and not take every dime and spend it on those fast cars and big houses and fancy things, unless they have the resources to do that. They need to put the money back for this day, because it will come at some point for everybody.
Guys, thank you.
You're welcome.
Our pleasure.
I really appreciate you,
Our pleasure.
you know, sharing with us on this. I'll make a copy of this for you guys. And you know, how I will use it, you know, I don't know. I think
I'll waive my
it's a-
HIPAA rights, Robert.
will you waive it? So in
I'm
case,
glad to-
Well, let me just tell this.
I'll waive my HIPAA rights, and, you know, you can basically do with it what you want.
well, I don't.
You know, the
and
whole
it's-
key, if that message will help one person,
Yeah.
or two people, or 200, or 2 million,
Right.
you know, that's what's important to me.
Well, it's one of those situations where, for agents, you know, where I see it in terms of people that are out there dealing with clients, you know, and they hear the fact that I'm overinsured or I'm healthy and I don't worry about that.
You never
I ran a
know. You know,
marathon.
they're just
Yeah.
a phone call away.
Yeah.
Stop and think about that. If something happened to you today, you know, what would happen
Yeah.
to their quality of life?
You know, I'll leave you one thought. You know, whoever's viewing this, you know, if your house is not in order, don't procrastinate. Don't put it on. If all your I's or your T's are not crossed, or your I's dotted, do it today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tell that to your client. Tell that to your friends. Tell it to your business associates. Tell it to your neighbors. Tell it to your family members. Tell that story to any and everybody you come in contact. If you're uncomfortable with telling it, look me up. I'll be happy to share my story with you.
Thanks, guys.